What's going on, everyone? This is JR Bissell with Pirate Gold Coins. Some notable sales this week. It's January 2021. Obviously, the biggest highlight of the week for sure is the Mickey Mantle Rookie card that sold for $5.2 million. That was in a PSA 9 holder by the actor Rob Gough. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He just recently acquired the streetwear brand Dope in 2017. Maybe you've heard of him. Gough said the 1952 Topps Mantle card is the holy grail of sports cards. Quoting, "As a kid, he loved ripping packs open in the 90s and always dreamt of owning one. I felt this Mantle was highly underpriced." It is believed that there are only 6 PSA 9s left in existence. This purchase shattered the 5-month-old record for the Mike Trout rookie card that sold for $3.94 million just back in August. This purchase marks another milestone amid a recent surge in big money sports memorabilia sales. 10 cards have sold over $900,000, 8 of those being in the past 12 months. The Honus Wagner card and a PSA 5 holder just sold for $3.12 million back in 2016. Rob mentions on his Instagram, in addition to having an absolute blast collecting cards again, they're an incredible diversified asset class and have historically outperformed the S&P while recently growing at a much higher rate. Next is Batman issue number 1 and a 9.4 holder. It just sold for $2.2 million. This 9.4 is the highest grade of this comic and is the very first time the Joker and Catwoman appeared in a comic book. This piece is one of the top 5 comic issues in the hobby and the first time in the CGC era that a near mint copy of one of these issues has been sold at a public auction. It's also worth mentioning it was sold without a reserve as well, which can be considered very risky. You can read more about the grading of this comic on Bissell'S Bizarre World, but the first appearance of the Joker alone would make this one of the most important comic books ever. If there was ever a poll to determine the greatest villain in history of comics, we have no doubt the Joker would win, but perhaps by a landslide. The Catwoman, who was just called the Cat in the first issue, is also arguably the most important female villain ever if she's not number 1. Another sale worth mentioning real quick that was in our own Shipwrecked Treasure industry is the Mexico 1711 Royal 8 Escudos in a 66 holder that sold for $312,000. These Royals were presentation pieces to the king to give a perfect example of next year's coin type and were often worn even by royalty during those times. Next is a Charizard holographic card that went off this week for $300,000 in a perfect 10 holder. However, don't get too excited just yet. Charizard in a 9 holder sold in the same auction for $32,000, so the prices of these pieces drop pretty rapidly. It's arguably the hottest card in the entire hobby. PSA certified 2,600 of these cards to date, 120 of them earning a gem mint state grade. It's worth noting that another 10 just sold in November 2020 for $350,000. The last and most expensive purchase worth mentioning just sold over the weekend. Carroll Shelby's personal Cobra went for $5.4 million without the auction tax. That's over $6 million. Fans of this muscle card believe there's nothing more exciting than this type of machinery, and after the gavel banged on Friday, January 15th, they have 5.4 million reasons to back up that claim. This car was so special that the legendary car designer Carroll Shelby purchased it in 1966 and never let the car go for 45 years until his death in 2012. That's all for this week in January 2021. The year's already off to an incredible start in the world of collectibles. Come back for continual updates in Bissell'S Bizarre World.